pain in the ass. Yeah, I'll be honest. Because when you're teaching over the internet, you really don't know what the kids are doing. You have no say it like they don't, you don't have no say if they're paying attention, if they just have you muted per se, if they just are playing a video over and over again of them sitting there, because there are really easy ways to put on backlogs of video and feed it into something. But it just depends. Like, I know some teachers who would probably like it more if they could teach online. They could probably teach more people. But at the same time, I feel like you're trading away the amount of people you can teach to being how much of an individual you can learn of each student and how much you can help each student personally. And then for students, I have to say that probably the best thing about going back to actual school, probably seeing your friends again. I'll be honest, it's like that was the only reason why I ever went to school. I never had any problems with the tests though, so I never studied. But yeah, it's like, and I do feel like some kids definitely do better with being in an actual school environment where they aren't at home, like, because kids have a very difficult time, at least I did as a child, where separating like home life from school life and stuff like that. It's like where when you're at home, you feel you just want to play video games, you want to do that, you want to be able to relax. And then when you try and put school in there, kids are like, no, they don't like it. They don't. It's like they don't want to sit down for an hour or 2 hours to do homework, or do school, or do something.
Right. Not to mention, too, the majority of us were more in class online, where 90% of us are sitting down, which studies have shown sitting down for a long period of time is detrimental to our health. Where if we were in class at school, especially in the United States, we're constantly moving around from classroom to classroom.
Yeah, for the most part. There are some classes where there's some schools that still do the like you're only in one classroom for your whole day, but that's mostly for the younger kids, if I remember correctly.
True. And whatchamacallit, I want to say, I think it was Finland. There's a couple other out of country schools systems that do that, where the teachers rotate instead of the students, which both is great health-wise, because instead of 36 kids or a certain amount of kids moving, it's just one teacher moving.
Yeah, that would probably be a lot easier to deal with, I would say. And yeah, just have all the books for the teacher right there. I mean, you can always have arguments or discussions about what's the best way to teach someone, because it's not really a like one teaching method fits all kind of thing. It's like every person needs to be taught differently, unfortunately, and unless everyone gets their own private tutor, that's gonna be a very difficult thing to do. You're gonna have teachers where, like, I'll say it's like, oh, I loved that teacher because they taught it in that certain way, and that's how I learned very easily. And then you have other teachers where it's just like, I hated that teacher. That teacher taught it in this way, and I have no idea what they mean by that. So,
right. I kind of see teachers, like, kind of moving like with your comment. I see teachers as cops. I know right now cops are getting a lot of hate for
doing their job. And
yeah, and it's one of those things. Like people see one bad apple, one bad cop, and it ruins everything. Same thing with teachers. One bad teacher just kind of screwed up the whole experience.
It is sad because it is true. Is that it's like there's a reason why it's like, I know I'm gonna get a bit off topic for here for a second. So if you want to stop recording for just a second, okay. That's the reason why I hate cancel culture for like that whole thing, is that it's like they take something that it's like one person said one time, never said it again. It's like, they've did one thing one time. It might have easily just been a mistake that they made, and they never remade that mistake. But then they take that and they try and get them completely removed from any work that they can do. Like, they try and ruin their livelihoods, and it's just like, look, I know you disagree that person did that thing, but that person still needs to be able to live and survive. It's like you're just gonna damn that person to poverty and hell for making one bad joke at some place. It's like that's not okay.
Extremely. Oh man, where do you even go with that? There's just so many negative things about it, and yeah, kind of lost my train of thought, but yeah,
sorry.
Great.
I know that's why I said I was going off topic. I was like that. It's completely off topic because it's just something that. But for teachers, I feel like that they have. It's a bit easier on them with like regular classrooms because that limits two things: how many people you can have in that classroom. For one, we're gonna have to have at least smaller class sizes, at least for the foreseeable future. For like at least this year, they're gonna have to cut the class sizes in half because we need to be social distance, at least while COVID's still a thing. I hope to God that's what they're doing in fucking inland, like in states. Hope beyond hope that is what they're doing, but you need to keep the kids social distance at least while they're in class. The problem is that it's like it is just a petri dish of kids that do not have any discipline whatsoever. So they will not wear their masks. They won't wash their hands. They'll be dirty as hell.
It's true. Sorry,
yeah, they're going to go home and send it to their families. So, sorry.
No, you're good. Well, you make a great point. You reminded me of something with all those guidelines and regulations with rules and stuff, with washing hands and being well sanitized. You can say how many of hopefully majority of us like wash our hands. Majority of us do these health things. Though, how many of us actually do that? Like, think of a lot of younger generation kids. I've seen quite a number of people forget to wash their hands after they use the restroom. So it's
now it's just for me. It's just become a habit. I go to the restroom, I immediately walk over and wash my hands because it's for work, and it's become a habit now. Where it's like as soon as I do anything, I have to go over and wash my hands. Oh no. Okay, so just to you, Mario, because this is a completely unrelated story that just happened to remind me of it. And so the reason why people wear gloves, at least for the most part, it's not just less of you're going to be spreading as many germs as you are because you're going to be touching the same amount of things. It's to keep you protected so that whenever you're touching something, if there are germs on there already, it's not going to get onto your hand and infect you there. It's like you'd have to touch your face or something like that, but you can take the gloves off. And so I had a woman who walked in, wasn't wearing a glove, was wearing a mask like this, you know how I mean,
over the mouth, not the nose,
and their mouth is barely being covered. I walk up, I go to help her with food, and I just washed my hands. My hands were soaking wet, and so I wiped my hands off. I still can't get them in gloves because I have giant ass hands, and when they're wet, they don't go in the gloves. So it's it'll take me 5 minutes to get them in the gloves. And so it's I finish washing my hands, I dry them off. I go to help the woman. She's like, "You don't have any gloves? And you're not wearing gloves?" I said, "Sorry, let me go put some on right now." And so I had to go and stuff, walk over, dry my hands again, 3 times so that they were perfectly dry, and then get some gloves on. And by that time, another person had already walked over. Another one of my coworkers had walked over, didn't wear gloves, helped her with what she wanted. She didn't say anything, and then she walked away. It got me so confused because I don't know about you, but it's that just the woman had didn't take any safety procedures, and then she only cared about it one time apparently when I was there. I don't know. Weird.
It's very what's the word? I guess you can say that we're just inconsistent. And if you think about it, or not trying to blame our government, though, how the higher up people are running things, it's pretty inconsistent. Think of going back with California during the lockdown pandemic, where everything's shut down. Then stores are open, though for a certain time. Then everything's shut down again. Now bars are they were open for a couple of days. They shut it down. Now it's open only outside for maybe 15 people, shut down again. It's confusing.
So the problem is that our government basically sees everyone's unhappy. Everyone wants to be out of the quarantine. So they're like, okay, we'll do soft openings. So we'll open up things just slowly so that you guys can come back into the world and come back and socialize again. Problem is when you give a little, they take a lot. You give them a little bit of freedom, and everyone goes out and goes partying for spring break in Florida because fuck you. Have you seen those headlines of just all the people in Florida? And all
reading all of it. It's crazy just how people are taking advantage. It's a smart idea. It's not smart though. I give it to them. That people who want that adventure.
It would help if people recognize that, hey, going out shouldn't be hey, let's go out, but let's be safe about it. Let's make sure that we're all healthy. We're all wearing masks. We're all doing, no, everyone just goes, let's go out and party. Let's go drink. Let's go do this and that and that. And then at the end of the night, when everyone has COVID from one guy who got it, and everyone else has it now, and everyone's going, well, why did I get COVID?
True. You can kind of say that could be the similar situation if schools open up, right? I was watching a video about New York recently watched a video of New York opening up their schools when the pandemic was still was at large. I think it was in November. They were monitoring everything, and once someone got COVID, it switched everything online. They took extreme precautionary things, and on one hand, you see the students happy to be able to interact and just be with people. That's socialization. On the other hand, it's affecting health, and as we know, majority of the children have family members who are more at risk than the students themselves.
Yeah, the problem is that it's are any of the vaccines been tested for the younger people under 16? Because I know that the Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson, I believe both of those were 18 plus, right? Or 16 plus at least.
Excuse me. I'm not too sure because from my understanding and what's been told about the virus, just going all the way back to the beginning of the virus, that it's people who have passed away are majority older individuals. So of course, the vaccine will target the most vulnerable. To answer your question though, I'm unsure if children are able to get the vaccine. I want to say it's a possibility, though judging from a resource, I'm not sure what the terminology is, but judging from someone that's creating the vaccine, our target is the adults. And besides, there are so many more adults that need the vaccine than the younger children. That's just my opinion.
It is, and people do need it, but what I had read and heard was that it was that children couldn't get the vaccine because it just wasn't safe for them or something, was all that it was. It was less that they were, but no, it is completely understandable that that we are focusing more on the older demographic, because the older demographic are the ones that are dying more often than not. So
true. That's a great question though. It never really occurred to me, does it work on children? Because eventually when all the adults are inoculated or safe, you could say.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the word. It actually, is it inoculated or is it? I know indoctrinated is not the word I was looking for, but it keeps popping up in my head like it's supposed to be right. I'm like, we're gonna indoctrinate all of these children.
That sounds so different.
That sounds so terrible.
Oh man.
but no. So what was it? I'm just going over the news in my head, and one thing keeps popping up, and it has completely unrelated to the article, to any article about the vaccine. So
It's
don't really have much.
it's true though. That is, well, going back to that question, it's something that does need to be brought up. My mom made a comment about it because obviously you already know she's a teacher, and being in a household of younger children with my brother having such a unique immune system, if she gets caught with COVID, who knows what's going to happen with my brother?
Yeah, that's like the really dangerous thing is that it's like if you indoctrinate all the adults, then we'll have herd immunity. It'll be a bit better to like take people out. On the other hand, is that it's like if we're going to be opening up schools, we are definitely gonna want our children inoculated. That's the word, inoculated, right?
I think so. Let's go with that.
I hope it is. Otherwise, I just used 3 wrong words in succession to each other in
English.
Yes, English. Love it. But no, so. But it's like, yeah, if we're opening up schools again, it's like, well, who's going to be predominantly there? More like there are going to be hundreds, if not thousands of students, depending on the school, that are going to be there from like 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock is what like the average time is, if I remember correctly.
Sometimes even earlier or later too. A good chunk of families are
drop it off. I say drop them off at like earlier, like 15, 30 minutes earlier, at least. So, yeah.
There's so many things that we need to take into consideration to open schools, and
our government has ignored all of them.
Unfortunately, yes. Which
it's bad, but it's true.
We can't. There's no bypassing that, though. That's something our government should have been aware of. Instead of figuring out who's going to be our president, the real focus should have been who's going to take care of this pandemic the best, on top of all the other BS that we're struggling with, that we created on our own. You can say.
I still hate Trump for one reason. He freaking made a cult of a bunch of people and had no idea that he'd done it too. Was like the worst part is that he had absolutely he must have had no idea what the hell he was doing, because I'm pretty sure he probably did not truly mean to incite that riot at the end of like that. They must have played like in that trial they must have just played incompetence. I swear that would have been the only way to get him out of it. Just like he didn't know it would happen.
I don't know. Who knows? Being a president, there's many things that
I don't even know why he wanted to be president. Do you even remember what was his reason to become president?
Oh man, it feels like every presidential election just gets
dumber and dumber.
More stressful. Well, that's another way to put it.
Oh my god, I still can't believe Biden fell down the stairs on Air Force One. Do you remember that meme?
I haven't seen it yet. That's pretty funny.
So it's him walking up the stairs and he slips a bit and then he tries to catch himself and no one else is next to him, by the way. He's completely alone on these stairs right now. And it just shows him just like stumbling and then completely falling over. Just walking up the stairs. There was nothing in front of him, nothing behind him. Nothing should have like caught him off guard. He had a handrail too, was the other thing.
That's hilarious. That happens to the best of us.
It does.
One thing, kind of going back with schools reopening and tripping, one thing that did catch my attention, it was from a Prince Air, I forgot his name, really, really inspirational individual. He brings up schools being opened up outdoors. Studies have shown an outdoor environment is, how would you say it? It's all about environment when you think about it. And why not try an outdoors? We get to see things we're not closed off in classrooms.
Yeah. So the thing about outdoor learning is that you have to live in California for it to be semi-decent, unfortunately, because anywhere else in the country, like half of the places in the country going outside to learn, it's going to be two things. It's either going to be way too hot or way too cold.
There also are accommodations as well that we do have. Carports, not TPs. What is it called? Yeah, carports. Those things that we have for quinceañeras.
I don't. Have I actually been to a quinceañera? I don't remember.
I've recently been to one. I
don't think I ever really have.
Pandemic quinceañeras are definitely something else.
Really? I didn't even like. I thought most people would have like stopped doing like. I feel like there's another thing about me that completely separates from most other people is that I really do not care if I have human interaction for myself personally. And I realize everyone else loves it and wants it, but it's never really been my thing personally. It's like, hurt me personally is that it's like, I'm antisocial. I hate people for the most part.
People are interesting and we need to work on them anyways.
Oh my God. But no, okay, so the story I'd heard earlier, just completely off topic now because I've given up. Apparently Oakland is giving out $500 checks to like low-income families, except for the white ones, apparently.
Oh man.
No, literally, that was what it said. It said except for non-white families or something. And I'm not sure if it's because that like there are just a bunch of like different like there just like aren't any or very little like white people that are homeless or very low income in Oakland, but that still seems just like really bad to like put out as like a precedent. Like we're gonna give we're gonna give $500 to all of these families, but not you because you're white. It's probably not a great precedent.
Not at all. When you think about it, that's such an unfortunate thing that as Americans we miss completely. So many of us are for Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter.
Oh, no. I'm still completely against that organization. I've hated them since like 2016, since they were like halfway to a terrorist group, I swear.
Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, back in their early days, they did some terrible shit. And I refuse to be with them anymore.
And it's unfortunate that there's just so much injustice. Though, does it make it right for other organizations to do the same thing back? People are taking that for an eye way too far.
Yeah, I like. There's a reason why it's like it's like have you heard? I don't know if this is even still a thing, but I remember people used to say like 2 or 3 years ago about like not anti-racism, but it was it might have been anti-racism or something like that, where it was a bunch of like people online, like a bunch of white people, like from a bunch of different backgrounds, a bunch of different places, but they were like talking about how there's actually like a bunch of like racism against white people going around. It's like people were like, oh no, you can't have an opinion on that because you're white, or you can't do that because you're white, or you can't do, like, it was just like, and nobody was like talking, not even the fact that nobody was talking about it, it was more of the fact that like they were saying that it wasn't racist for them to do that, even though that is the definition of racism.
True, and if you think about it, there's been a lot of talk about like what racism is, and you bring up a good point too, that you don't need, how would you say it? If you're being discriminated based on what you are and not who you are,
yeah,
that's what people miss, because of course history has shown white people have done some crazy things. So that's not to say Hispanics, Asians, and Blacks haven't done a fair share either.
it's here's the thing. I don't like why people bring race into a thing anyway. We're all human beings. Who gives a shit? I
Agreed.
really don't. I've never understood it. Why you bring race into anything? It's like we really have very little like genetic changes between races. It's like the race is basically just described by how much what is it? Melanin is in your skin.
Melatonin, right?
Melatonin, yeah. Sorry, not melanin.
Well, maybe it
But
is
yeah,
melon.
What?
I think maybe it is melon. Something.
It's melatonin or melanin, one of those two. And I think melanin might be for plants though. Maybe I don't remember.
I just remember one has to do with
It's been
sleep.
it's been a while since I've done like biology. So, but no, but it's like it has like that really has nothing to do with anything about you. It's like the reason why it's like we still see like differences in culture in like different communities and different things is because what we did is like in a lot of when immigrants came into this country, they did two things. The two things that they did were they grouped together, they huddled together around their same race that they had come with from. Like if you were Chinese and you came over, you would go and find Chinatown because that was where all the other Chinese were. And you could continue to speak your language that you spoke from your original homeland over there. You didn't have to know English because the other people around you could speak it and could translate or could figure it out for you and could help you. And so, because when everyone was coming over here and when everyone was like basically going, well, we all want to be a part of our group again still, it's like, then you had people that is like, and then they stayed like that. So they're going to be, I have all my dogs now, apparently. Hey, Noel. Hey, Framey.
A little dog cameo. Though you make a great point too. Just, we gravitate ourselves or we include ourselves into someone or something that we relate to. Like personally, someone that likes soccer a lot, I would gravitate to someone that plays soccer as well over someone that
Plays baseball.
Yeah, that's baseball. It's just one of those things. It's a law of attraction at the end of the day, and I feel there's something secretively you can say schools do that. Well, all the same. Unfortunately, some people take it to the do segregate and separate based on traits and physical attributes. Though, as there's always going to be a couple students or teachers that break those barriers. That like, hey, you're a nerd. You can also play sports. It's okay if you like feminine products. It's all right. It's be who you want to be at the end of the day. And I know that's what a great teacher should be. And we do have great teachers out there.
Yeah, but we also have terrible teachers that push their political beliefs onto their students. So,
Yep, that's a bad apple. That
I still remember. Who is it? I don't even remember. Can't even remember their name. I completely blocked it out. So, but yeah, no, it's like you just have to get decent teachers for the most part. Harley, no, don't eat the shit. No, Harley, no. Come here.
So yeah, a lot of us see the negative things over the positive things. There's a quote, a goalie quote that says, no matter how many great saves you make, people will always criticize that one goal you missed.
Yep.
Right. So looking at the time, we should be wrapping up the episode. For future reference for all you guys that are watching, it was a little chaotic. We'll be honest, behind the scenes, we did do some adjustments, though it's all good. We do have a second part coming out soon, so stay tuned with that. It's gonna be exciting. Pass a smile, and we'll see you guys next time.